go that way. Welcome back. We're back with Between the Lines, another week, Thursday night. Here we are, and we're back with Congressman Chuck Fleischmann again this week. Did a lot of international talking last week. We're going to find out what our country's doing here domestically, some of the issues, and find out what he thinks is going to happen and where our budgets are at. And anything we can think about to talk about, we're going to talk. Welcome back.
Alan, it's great to be with you, sir, and always good to be back.
I switched to my ball tie this week.
Go Vols, go Big Orange.
You know, you were talking last week about coming in and offering stuff, and we don't offer as much as other countries, if you'll remember, et cetera, et cetera. And I was thinking about UT and Alabama Law School.
Ouch. Proud graduate of the University of Tennessee in Knoxville, as is my wife.
Yes.
However, my sons went in the other direction.
Well, they got incentives.
They got incentives.
That's what we've been
exactly
talking about.
right.
So they went the way they needed to go.
They're doing well.
Very well.
Yep.
Yeah, good kids.
God bless them.
All three of them. We talked last week a lot about international stuff. I want to get into the domestic stuff and talk a little bit about it. Congress, we've always said that the Democrats and Republicans agree on 90% of the stuff, 80% of the stuff, but it's 20% that everybody hears about. You know, you work through bills every day. How is the relationship between the two parties at this point? Terrible?
Strained. It's strained. It depends on the issue. It's an excellent question, Alan. I have worked now with 3 administrations in the House. First the Obama administration, then the Trump administration, now the Biden administration. And I always say people are human, and people look at me and laugh. What do you mean people are human? Well, people have strengths. People have frailties, weaknesses. Okay,
sure.
we are human. But people become friends sometimes who disagree on issues.
Sure.
People become foes who agree on issues.
You and Ernie Moniz.
Well, and Moniz and I disagreed on a lot of things. We agreed on some things. He was with Obama, but every time I asked him for something for Oak Ridge, he came through.
But he was very confident.
But he knew the SNS, and we talked about SNS2, which we're going to get, spallation neutron source 2 at the lab, additive manufacturing.
Just a bright
all the
guy.
different things. Bright guy. And we still, on occasion, get together and agree to disagree on some really strong issues. But having said that, outside of myself, we'll take a look at some of the bills. The Homeland Security bill. I'm the highest Republican, the ranking member on Homeland Security appropriations. So I'm responsible for carrying the water for the Republicans on that portfolio. What is that portfolio? Our great United States Coast Guard, okay? Our great United States Secret Service. Now, take those 2 bills, all right? There is so much agreement on that. TSA, there's agreement there. Where does it fall apart? ICE, CBP. Let's face it, I want to fund
CBP?
the wall, Border Patrol agents, okay? I want to make sure those men and women have the resources necessary to keep the illegals out. Democrats want them to come in, okay? And I'm oversimplifying. But, so there are wedge issues. So you'll take a bill like the Homeland bill, the Energy and Water bill, which I championed for Oak Ridge, our great ORNL, our lab, Y12 UPF, and our great legacy cleanup mission here in Oak Ridge.
And staying on that for a second, and we'll come back to what you're saying, but we finally got some stability at Y12 and Oak Ridge recently.
Oh, yes, we did.
We needed it bad.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
I don't pick winners and losers, okay? I don't pick the contractors, but I'm very concerned about our missions here, which are critically important to our nation's success. I think we have the best lab in the country at ORNL. The folks at Y12 have done a tremendous job. And NSA keeping our nation's nuclear arsenal safe and secure for years. We have a sister site in Pantex in Texas. They do the primaries, we do the secondaries. We're building the uranium processing facility, that $6.5 billion facility, largest construction project in the state of Tennessee.
And why is the UPS facility necessary?
Because that is going to be the facility that replaces Y12 and those critical missions for our nation's nuclear security, and it is going to be state-of-the-art. It almost did not happen.
Well, we won't replace Y12 altogether.
Yeah, Y12 ultimately will close down and transition all of its work.
In 20, 30 years?
It'll be slower than we like, but hopefully Y-12 will be open by 2025, 2026.
UPF,
you will move, UPF will, and then they'll move that over. The building, it's not so much the function. The building is falling apart. These poor workers.
So when you say Y-12, what you really mean is the facilities of
yes.
Y-12. I see what you're
Yes,
saying.
but the mission is going to be better, enhanced, critically important to our nation's nuclear security. And guess what? It almost didn't happen. When I went to Congress 12 years ago, people were like, well, are we going to actually do the UPF? And they said it's going to be $20 million. It wasn't going to work. They couldn't get the design right. We all got together.
And why do we need to, are we the only country that processes uranium?
No, unfortunately, a little country called Russia does actually a pretty good job of it, and they sell it to the world. We need to make sure that we keep America's nuclear arsenal strong and secure, and that we make sure that America can take care of America's needs. We don't want to be dependent on Russia or China for anything like that.
So we do a lot of essential, without going into detail, a lot of essential and parts and everything gets shipped to Pantex and it gets shipped to the Department of Defense. That's what your encyclopedia would tell you.
Right.
So the uranium's crucial here. That's part of what we do, right?
You're so right. And we go back to the Manhattan Project. Oak Ridge was the uranium center of the world. That's where we built the first uranium bomb. Plutonium is done much more work out west at other sites. Both very important, very different needs. Yes. And then the third thing I have got to talk about is nuclear cleanup, legacy cleanup. We are cleaning up mercury. We're cleaning up radiologically contaminated buildings, other buildings. We've got like 70 buildings to take down over time. That's why we've got to build that disposal cell here so that we can take down these buildings and do what? Build an Oak Ridge Airport. I am so excited about that.
Get some money
Been
for that,
working for years on getting our Oak Ridge Airport.
But people won't come to work. Key people, we're talking about Pantex and Y-12 and
yes.
We have deliveries. We have products that you as an oversight, you want to see Y-12 get their job done at Pantex and of course Homeland and research and everything. But if you don't have a stable contract.
That's correct.
And we've been that's why it was so important to get 3 years. Let's talk about it. Yeah.
Let's talk about it, and I am thankful. Let me say I'm thankful. First of all, let's talk about a big three missions. ORNL, run by my alma mater, the University of Tennessee at Knoxville, go Big Orange, and a company called Battelle. Battelle runs a lot of labs all over the country. They're based in Ohio. They do a good job. But we have UT Battelle running ORNL, the best, strongest national lab in the country by far. Every critical mission a national lab does, ORNL does it. Now, Y-12, UPF, Pantex. That was the problem. A couple of years ago, the NNSA, the federal government agency charged with that, decided that they were not going to give the incumbent contractor, which is CNS, which basically is Bechtel and Leidos and a host of other players. They decided they were not going to renew that contract. That was NNSA's decision. I kept saying we've got to make sure we compete and complete our missions at Y-12, at Pantex, and build UPF. This is where it gets dicey. They put out a contract, NNSA, other people bid. So you had 3 teams bid. They awarded it to a competitive team.
That's right.
That's their prerogative. But then there was a protest. It got pulled back. Just last week, NNSA contacted me, like they should have, before they contacted the contractors, and said, Congressman, basically, we're going to stop the madness, correct the mistakes that were made over time, and we are basically going to give the incumbent contractor a 2 to 3 year extension plus as much as a 5 at Y-12, Pantex, and of course, they were always going to keep UPF with CNS. Why was that important? It stopped the bleeding in the community. I'm not here to pick winners and losers, but I will tell you this. If you don't have a contractor, if you have uncertainty, you have thousands of hard-working East Tennesseans in Anderson, Morgan, Roane, all of our surrounding counties. Even Knox County, love Knox County. It's not in the second district. It's not in the third district.
Okay.
But they come over here and they work.
Yeah, third.
Right? You need predictability. We got that. And I will also say this, to DOE's credit, they awarded the big cleanup contract a few months ago, and the new contractor has taken over. The new contractor is the old contractor. It's called UCOR. It's a mix of Amentum and Jacobs. They did a great job, whether you're a Republican, Democrat. They got all kinds of awards for the job that they've done cleaning up our legacy waste sites, which I think is a federal government obligation to the citizens of Oak Ridge. I want a healthy site. I want to see these sites cleaned up. And what do? We make new sites. We have economic development, and we're going to get an airport. Maybe it'll be the Beauchamp International Airport. Come on now.
Is it International Airport?
Sure. If you're involved, we got to.
I mean, I'm saying though,
go everywhere.
Who's going to be able to land at this airport?
Okay, good question. It's going to be a smaller runway. In all seriousness, more corporate planes, probably a 5,000-foot runway as opposed to 10. But that's not necessarily in stone. But it's going to make it easier.
How long is McGee Tyson?
10,000. Okay, it takes the larger planes. But think about it, and people know, Oak Ridge is my beloved city. I love the people here. I love our mission. I love our history, everything about it. And you talk to anybody, talk to the president of Egypt, talk to President Trump, he'll say, Chuck Fleischmann, Oak Ridge, okay? Now, Oak Ridge is the last large city in the great state of Tennessee without a municipal airport.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so we got a beautiful one built.
Clarksville has one?
I don't know if Clarksville has one. I don't know if they're as large as Oak Ridge, though. So,
Clarksville 3 times bigger.
Okay, then they must have one. Yeah, yes, they do. Actually, MTSU is one of the best pilot programs in the country.
I didn't know that.
Yep, they really
Graduate
do.
MTSU. I love MTSU.
That's star basketball player.
Oh yeah, but
the
back
only
when.
sport I
Peach
never
basket.
excelled in.
Peach basket.
Okay,
Peach
but I'm still working on it.
Yeah.
So, be that as it may, we're going to get an Oak Ridge airport, smaller planes, smaller jets, but it'll make it easier for us for economic development.
Corporate jets, no public transportation at all?
Probably not at this point in time, but we've got to get it built. We've got the plans out there. It's going to work. A lot of great Oak Ridgers are working on that.
How does that help us?
Economic development, and it keeps us very viable in terms of the competition that's out there. Who do I compete against, okay? I put my 3rd District Tennessee hat on. Many times, I'm not fighting Republicans, Democrats, or independents for something. I'm competing with other sites. DOE sites, Idaho, Savannah River, Hanford, Washington. There's a keen battle for funds. That's why it's so important that I serve on the Appropriations Committee and that I'm a senior appropriator. Next time I'll be what we call a quote-unquote cardinal, meaning a subcommittee chairman on appropriations. Why is that important for the great state of Tennessee? Because I basically, excuse the colloquialism, bring the bacon back for the state of Tennessee. I make sure that $7.2 billion is coming into this community in Oak Ridge. It was $4 billion when I got.
Wow. You're on labor age too?
I'm on labor education.
That's education, right? So UT and other universities
Absolutely.
are dependent on your funding as well.
And Homeland. So I've actually got 3. Even though we're in the minority, we're only supposed to be on 2 subcommittees.
Right.
I took on the workload, and my staff did, to be on 3 major subcommittees. Next time I will chair one, but I will probably always be on energy and water as long as I'm there. Why? Because of Oak Ridge.
But if you're chairman energy and water, would you have another one? Probably.
Yes, I will probably have either labor, H, and or a 3rd. Do I stay on Homeland or not? That's an open question. May do state and foreign ops. There are 12 subcommittees on the full appropriations committee, all of which are very important to doing what? Funding the key government initiatives that we've got. Obviously, Oak Ridge gets a larger share and does great things for our nation.
Let's go to break. 2 minutes, and we'll be right back with Congressman Fleischmann.
Unlike other health concerns, mental illness is not always easy to see.
DEPR.
Mental illness doesn't show up on a scale.
Bipolar?
Sorting out a mental health concern takes professional diagnosis and treatment.
Anxiety. I thought so.
If you or a loved one has a mental health concern, don't go it alone. For 24-hour free and confidential information and treatment referral, call 1-800-662-HELP. Learn more at samhsa.gov/support.
What if one day you went to your secret hiding place, and instead of what you came for, you found this? What would you do? The truth is, all drug use comes with risk. Before drugs take their toll on you and your family, know that there is help. You can quit. If you or someone you love is struggling with drug use, call 1-800-662-HELP for 24-hour free and confidential information and treatment referral, or go to samhsa.gov/knowtherisks.
Hello, I'm District Attorney General Dave Clark. My fellow DAs and I successfully fought for new elder abuse laws and procedures that have police departments and agencies using improved tools to protect our seniors. Victims of elder abuse are often unable to recognize or report abuse themselves. They need your voice. If you suspect abuse, contact local law enforcement or adult protective services. Let's work together to protect our seniors.
I'm Andrew Saul, Commissioner of Social Security. Beware of telephone scammers pretending to be government employees. Real Social Security employees will never threaten you. Callers threatening you with arrest or other legal action and demanding money are not from us. If you receive a call like this, hang up. Do not provide them with any form of payment or information. Report the call at oig.ssa.gov.
Okay, we're back, Congressman. We're talking about all things Oak Ridge and Roane County and Anderson County. A lot of turnover in government this year. We're going to see a lot. I think we're going to see a younger group of people. I think we've already seen the average age of our judges in Anderson County is going to go down to 46.
Wow.
Yeah, and we're going to see other things in Knox County. Do a lot of work in Knox County. I think it's good, and we're doing well. Tell me about our ground troops, our soldiers, our veterans. We've talked about nuclear and other type of defense mechanisms. Tell them proliferation stuff. Tell me about how are our veterans doing? I mean, how are our soldiers doing? How are our armed forces doing? Are we getting good treatment?
Very well.
Okay. Is that a bipartisan issue?
It should be. I'm going to say yes. I'm going to try to be fair to our friends on the other side of the aisle. Republicans such as myself always want to fully fund defense. Where we get pushback from the Democrats is they want to try to go dollar for dollar with social programs. We can't afford that, okay? Right. So it's not that they're anti-defense. They want to say, well, if you want $1 for defense, we want $1 for some social program. We just can't afford.
Don't we settle budgets that way every time?
We do, but they're not going to get dollar for dollar. So the reality is some Democrats do support us with full funding for defense, others not so much. But our personnel are being paid better than ever. That is a good thing. Our families are being taken care of better. That's a good thing. Our armaments are incredibly good. Our technology, our military technology is very good. Take a branch like our great United States Marine Corps. They are actually transitioning, doing away with tanks. It's kind of an interesting. They've got a whole different mindset as to what it's going to take to be combat ready in this century. So yes, logistically and in terms of technology, the United States Armed Forces are by far, it's not even close, superior to China, Russia, or any other armed forces in the world. And I will say this is what the military leaders tell me. The key is not only our great people and our great technology, but the logistics, the ability to get from one place to another. Our commanders tell me you've got to get there firstest with the mostest to win. Apparently nobody can match that.
Firstest, that's
yes.
a new word, isn't it?
Yes,
okay.
Indeed.
Got to get there first. All right, so you feel good about the military and where it's going. How about our retired veterans and our disabled veterans, and where's that at now?
So proud. In my time in Congress, and this is my 12th year, I've been privileged to open up 4 clinics. One in Roane County, one in Campbell County, one in McMinn County, all of which have done a great job. Recently, we opened up one in Hamilton County, and they call it a clinic, but it is like a quasi-hospital. It is incredible. So I can look my constituents in the eye, whether it's on Memorial Day, Veteran Day, Reach Across America, and say to our veterans, now you are getting the best care available. It is incredible. In 12 short years, we have gone from a situation where we routinely...
Everybody went to Johnson City, right?
Went to Johnson City or over to Murfreesboro and then had complaints and problems and gaps. Now it is just so good. Now, one of my concerns is mental health. We've seen a lot of veterans have mental health issues, and what that has translated into not only mental health but active duty, too many suicides. And we want to make sure that we engage in proper suicide prevention. There was a time, I was told, when a veteran would pick up the line on a suicide call and get an answering machine. That doesn't happen anymore. You're going to get a live person, you get somebody who will help. So we want to make sure that those who have served us so well in whatever branch, our dear veterans, get the best care that they deserve, and we are.
Gasoline.
Ouch.
What do you got to say about gasoline? It's going to go up this summer, don't you think?
It's sad. The United States has petroleum reserves that dwarf the size of the Saudi oil fields. We have reserves in West Texas, in the Arctic, all over, where we could...
Define reserves for our folks at home.
Yeah. When I was growing up, Alan, we had the even odd gas things. All the big cars went away. I was born in '62, but in the '70s, when the oil crisis hit, we were taught in public school that there was going to be a last barrel of oil out there in the world in my lifetime. They could not have been more wrong. Reserves are basically petroleum that is in the ground that is yet to be extracted.
Okay.
West Texas, we have found reserves within the past decade that dwarf the size of the Saudi oil fields. Right. We have abundant fossil fuels, natural gas, petroleum in the world, but especially in the United States. The Biden administration, whether it was with the Keystone Pipeline or even just a couple weeks ago, canceling oil leases on federal lands that can be done very benignly, safely, and the like.
Are these reserves in Texas? Are they on federal land?
Some are, but Texas is just wide open land. It's a basin that they've discovered. So most of it is not on federal land, but the point is it's there, it's in the ground. Whether it's natural gas or oil, we should be able to go out.
But at $1.12 a barrel, you might have some incentives to drill.
That's right, if the federal government would let them do this. What the Biden administration did with our economy, because they don't value free enterprise capitalism, which I love, I cherish. I'm a business person, okay? I like capitalism and the free enterprise system. I'm a product of that, thank God. I had my own business, was successful, worked hard. I believe in entrepreneurs and the American entrepreneur and the American capitalist system. But the Biden administration does not. Plain and simple. All they're worried about is equity, equality, and this and that. Well, what they've done is they've thwarted energy development, they've thwarted economic goals and gains, and what happens? You get a crisis, whether it's international with Russia and supply chain or oil or something like that, and they expose their Achilles heel. It has hurt this country. So what we need to do...
But isn't it political suicide, as you said? Isn't it political suicide, or at least terribly detrimental to the Democratic Party not to drill oil?
Yes.
I tell people all the time, let's take some of the big issues of today. You go by, and I won't go into them all right now, but let's just say the Supreme Court rules and other things. All of these things people have opinions on, strong opinions, but it only touches them once in a lifetime or twice in a lifetime. You go to the gas pumps every week.
Go to the gas pumps, go to the supermarket,
oh,
and see this, and see empty shelves. Yes, it is clearly, I don't understand where Biden, Pelosi, and Schumer are coming from, because every time they come up with something that is detrimental to either energy production or supply chain, whether baby formula, you name it, every time they do that, the border, and they're faced with this crisis, they double down on their bad policies. It's amazing. It's almost like, well, they're going to continue to appease their radical left-wing base, right, which is such a small minority of the American electorate. And where are they losing? They're losing with Republicans, clearly. They're upside down with Democrats. They're upside down with Latinos. They're losing African-American and Asian voters. The only people they're placating is their radical left-wing base, and they're going to get clobbered in the midterm elections, and they deserve to get beaten because they are hurting this country.
They're hurting the people of this country. I mean,
yep.
I mean, you're talking 20-30% increase in most stuff. I mean, just being in having some interest in the mail business and some other things. Paper's gone up.
Yes. Ink's
up. Everything's up, and there's no reason for it.
There's no reason for it. We have abundance in this country, other than, again, they've almost stuck to this rigid, dogmatic version in the Democratic Party of what they believe is right: big government, high regulations, high taxes. I hate to say it, bureaucratic authoritarianism, and basically hurting this country, and they won't break from it. And the only way we're going to break them from it is at the ballot box. And when we get that, and we get our economic freedoms back again, I miss the Trump era. I miss the low unemployment, the great economic gains, the international respect we had as a nation. And let's hope we can get that back.
Does he run again?
I think so. Now,
Yeah, 50-50.
I know him very well. I had dinner with him
A couple months ago.
a couple weeks ago, and Brenda and I had a one-on-one talk with
That's
him,
correct.
and it was wonderful. He's such a good man. A friend of ours, who you would know, fell and got very badly hurt in a bathroom, and I told President Trump about that. Not only did he sign the card for him, he said, "Chuck, let me go get one of my presidential pens," and he said, "Would you give this to this person?"
Sure.
Just really, just a wonderful, good-hearted person Trump is. I don't think the American people have gotten to really see that great side of him, but he's very caring. But the reality is, he's going to have a decision to make after the midterms. I think.
Well, health is the big player, right?
Yeah, he's healthy. He's sharp as a tack. He's strong as a
So
bull.
the longer he continues like that, the more chance he gets in the mix.
Yes.
That's
And I
true with
think-
any 76-year-old.
And I will say this, and he'll be, 78 by the time he runs.
Right.
But I would say this: if Donald Trump decides that he wants to be the nominee, he will be the nominee of our party.
Let me ask you this: if Donald Trump does not run,
Yes.
give me 3 names.
Ron DeSantis,
Obviously.
clearly.
Border state, borderline.
Florida governor, very popular,
Yeah.
brings a lot to the table. I know him very well.
He gets a
I
lot of
played-
exposure.
Gets a lot of exposure. I served with him in Congress.
Yeah.
Played baseball with him. Very adept athlete. Very bright. Looking at the Senate, Tom Cotton. I think Cotton.
Yeah, but what does Arkansas bring us? I mean, you don't get no votes.
Yeah, but
he
he's
got to be a brand or a template or
yeah,
something.
but he has been a good, solid senator, good common
I like
sense
the guy,
conservative. Yeah, very good friends with Bill Haggerty,
Yes,
our
he
great
is.
senator.
That's my pick.
Yeah, you like Haggerty.
I like Haggerty for president.
You know, Haggerty has legs. He's
Oh, yeah, he
really
does.
good. He's
Smart,
articulate,
he's
smart.
genuine, he's sensitive to people,
Yeah.
he likes people, doesn't fight too much,
Yes.
he just tries to do the right thing.
And
Very smart.
Very smart, fluent in Japanese, well-versed in foreign and domestic policies. I knew he was going to be a great senator. He is a super great senator.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
No question about it. He's maintained a lot of our conservative values in
Yep.
Tennessee. At the same time, bringing, kind of like you, bringing a major work ethic. And he, I think Frist had that.
Sure.
And I think, it's easier to be Fred Thompson because you get 5-minute press conference, you're done, you really get it out
Indeed.
there.
He had
But-
charisma,
but
too. Gosh, I knew Fred
But
so well.
Frist, he was a grinder. He worked really
Yes,
hard.
yes.
And so does Bill Haggerty.
Haggerty does, and Haggerty's got that charisma and that savoir-faire. Let's talk about some potential female candidates at the top of the Republican ticket. I've
Yes,
always said we
please.
will have a Republican female president before a Democratic female president. I really believe that because
Well,
our party.
I told somebody last week, I said, look, on the show, I said 2 weeks ago, I said, Republicans looking for candidates on the federal level are looking for women first.
Sure, we are.
I mean, they're coming. Last cycle, how many? And hey, Knoxville County Commission is going to have almost an equal number of women.
Yes.
We're going to have 3 or 4, God willing, in Anderson County. And
I know one in particular
Yeah, you
I
do
like
know
a
one. And we
lot.
appreciate your support.
Yes,
but
indeed.
she's going
Saber's
50-50 on us. She'll call you on
Yeah,
that.
that's right. Hey, look, 50-50. I'll take 50-50
That's
with
it.
her any day. That's
The
good
disclaimer on that is my wife is running for county commission in Oak
Indeed.
Ridge for county commission. She's been, obviously we've been friends, and Chuck is our son's godfather, so we all know each other very well. Well, I think she's battling a little medical problem, but she's got a good chance. But anyway,
tough.
women
But,
at the top. Women at the top.
Christy Nome, I know very well. I served with Christy.
Another 3 electoral votes.
So yeah, well, yes, but brings a
charisma to it, sure.
Yes, to the ticket. Our party is doing so well. The Republican Party doing very well in the African American community. Amazing in the Latino community. The numbers
yeah.
are really staggering high. Why? Because the Latino community loves faith, loves family, values hard work, great values.
Doesn't understand taxes.
And yes, that's right. And values the freedoms of these countries.
Oh,
These are
yeah.
people coming from countries where they've seen the ills of socialism or communism.
Sure, the Guatemalans and everybody.
Anarchy. That's exactly right. So we're doing well there, doing better with Asian Americans. But I think putting
Weren't Asian Americans always more Republican?
You'd think so, but I've had a lot of candid conversations. They've been voting Democratic in the last couple presidential elections. And I've tried to have that conversation with a lot of Asian Americans, and they want to feel welcome in the party. I say, you are more than welcome in the party. We want you in the party. But there's just a belief that in some sectors that they have not been welcomed, but we're going to change that. We're going to have an open tent, open party, and bring everybody in. And it's about our values, our great constitutional values that our founding fathers gave us. It's about the free enterprise system and real opportunity.
And you know, and immigrants that I know as a whole, and Hispanic culture, they just don't. The excesses on the left are not socially acceptable to them. Let's take a break, and we'll be right back to talk more with Congressman Chuck Fleischmann.
At Social Security, we are always thinking of ways to save you time and make things easier. That's why we created My Social Security. A My Social Security account allows you to access your earnings history and benefits information, request a replacement Social Security card, get a proof of income letter, estimate and apply for benefits, and more. Save time. Go online. Open a My Social Security account at ssa.gov/myaccount. Social Security. Securing today and tomorrow.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
This is my husband, Alex Hussey. Alex was about 2 weeks away from coming home.
I was point man on foot patrol, and I stopped on the bomb. Lost my legs, my left hand, in an explosion.
And he suffered a severe traumatic brain injury.
As America's veterans face challenges, DAV is there.
There are so many mountains to climb, and we do it together.
With the right support, more veterans can reach victories, great and small.
To watch Alex take on this mountain, that's what this is all about.
DAV provides a lifetime of support to veterans of every generation, helping more than 1 million veterans each year.
Alex has conquered this mountain. That's something he won't forget.
With the right support, there are no limits.
Look at that smile! You did it!
But there's more to be done and more victories to be won.
This has meant so much.
Thank you, DAV.
Alex Hussey, thank you for your service. Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
Always ready, always there. Visit NationalGuard.com to find out more.
Hello, I'm District Attorney General Dave Clark. My fellow DAs and I successfully fought for new elder abuse laws and procedures that have police departments and agencies using improved tools to protect our seniors. Victims of elder abuse are often unable to recognize or report abuse themselves. They need your voice. If you suspect abuse, contact local law enforcement or adult protective services. Let's work together to protect our seniors.
Welcome back to Between the Lines. This Thursday night, we're talking to Congressman Chuck Fleischmann about all things America. We're talking about domestic and other things that we're going to talk a little bit more about. Got about 15 minutes left, so let's see what we can get done. How are things in Chattanooga?
Things in Chattanooga and Hamilton County are going very well. Over the past decade, we grew by about 20,000. So we didn't experience the tremendous growth that Middle Tennessee had. That's where it was abundant. But we did well. We grew. We're going to have another large economic site, the McDonald Farm, that's going to be developed over in the Hickson area. It's doing well. Tourism is up. It's a beautiful city. We have beautiful. It's grown.
Looks like Rome. It's got all the hills.
Oh yeah, 350,000 people in Hamilton County, doing well. just picked up in redistricting Bradley County, which is 110,000.
I just did some work down there, and we had some successful work. And so it's an interesting county. Yeah, it's an interesting county. And Polk's Polk.
Polk has potential. It's landlocked.
Tourists.
Yes, between North Carolina, Bradley, and Hamilton there, and it's a poorer, more rural county, but that will open up eventually when we get Carter K over there. The road that will go from Bradley County over into North Carolina. We'll see Polk County
build up on
boom.
the exits. Yeah.
Yes, it's just a beautiful place.
Oh, it is. It's a gorgeous tourist place, and we've had a lot of people over there. And Monroe, I've been down there a lot this spring. It's got a nice place. It's nice. I mean, I like
Doing
Athens.
well.
Athens is seems like it's more
the friendly city. It's a great county, McMinn and Monroe. Great manufacturing base. We've seen a lot of the boat manufacturers go in there. Not only go in there, but they've expanded. We're seeing all types of automotive manufacturers go in there. So McMinn and Monroe doing extremely well. Monroe is my largest county geographically. Hamilton is population. It is big.
Bigger than
Anderson.
Beautiful.
Yes, it is large. Backs up to the Smokies. Just have some wonderful municipalities in there. Madisonville is there. Obviously.
Well, tell our folks, our 24,000 watchers in Roane County, that are potential watchers. Tell us, how's your experience as Roane County going? You represent Roane County.
Roane is great, and Roane is one of those places where it's got the best of both worlds. About half the city of Oak Ridge sits in Roane County. When I talk to people,
10%.
Yeah, and the lab is there. So you've got.
That's right. You're talking geography.
Yeah. So we've got Anderson and Roane counties where Oak Ridge is. But then you break apart and you say, well, you've got Kingston, you've got Harriman, you've got, help me. Rockwood. Love Rockwood. All these beautiful. Oliver Springs.
South of the river.
You know, and Oliver Springs is great. It's in 3 counties. It's in Roane, it's in Anderson, and in Morgan.
Right.
I tell people that. So great district.
Historical little city.
Yes, but Roane County is beautiful. It's got that area on the water down there in Kingston. I go there every 4th of July.
Yeah.
I'll be there this 4th of July. Great people. I mean, Harriman's got such great character. Over the years, just really good families and the like. Again, Rockwood as well. So it's doing well. Very warm.
A lot of rural areas.
Yes, very warm. Midtown.
Midtown, which is in between Harriman and Rockwood, and you got the Oak Ridge part of Roane County, which is a single precinct actually, is up to 4,000 or 4,500 people because so much growth out in that area. Oak Ridge's growth is to the west, and that's in Roane County.
That is fantastic.
So we're getting more Roane County residents through growth and other things of both Oak Ridge and Roane County. I mean, Roane County, Oak Ridge. Your north got torn up into a million pieces. You got half of Scott, half of
Scott, half of Kimball, all of Morgan. We kept all of Morgan County, and I know a lot of great people in Morgan County.
I like Morgan County.
Come down here and work, and we got applause from them.
Brad clapping.
I heard that clap, absolutely. Morgan's great. Just was up there recently visiting. Great county. It's growing. We've been able to get them some really good grant money over the years and economic development. But whether it's Campbell, Scott, or Morgan, a lot of folks there come down here and work the great jobs at Oak Ridge. Yeah. I mean, all over cleanup, lab,
6,000.
Y12. Yeah, so very important. That's why that $7.2 billion of federal investment that we have in the Oak Ridge Reservation is so important. That impact is about $50 billion if you look at it in terms of the entire area.
Tell everybody here, are we going to have a convention in Milwaukee?
No.
Or we're going to have a convention in Nashville?
I'm putting my chips on the table. We are going to have this is an opinion, not a fact, the Republican National Convention in Nashville. It is down to Nashville and Milwaukee. I think we'll choose Nashville. It will be great for our state. It will be great for our party. And I think it's time we have a national convention.
I don't know a lot about, also, you know me, I've lived and traveled all over the country for 40 years, but I don't know a lot about Milwaukee. And I don't know the land layout of it and all. My gut feeling would be Milwaukee's more valuable. I'm hoping for Nashville. But the Wisconsin votes are just huge.
Wisconsin is a key swing state.
Yeah.
Went for Trump the first time. I think they went for Trump the second time, but some people would disagree with me in the electoral count, but that's another story for another day. But be that as it may, it will be a swing state. And Tennessee will not. Tennessee is solid red.
So that's why there's some smart money on Wisconsin.
Will be welcome. Republicans will be welcomed in Tennessee.
Yeah, we'll have a very positive experience here. No big city protests.
It'll be
not
great.
many, not many.
That's exactly right.
And stuff like that, et cetera, et cetera. So, education.
Yes.
How do you think we're doing nationally? I mean, Tennessee's been up. COVID was such a mess. We're going to talk about COVID in a minute, but
we need to do better, and we need to do better. And I'm going to say this: I'm an LAS political science history subjective thinker. We know that, and you are as well. We've had several great talks over the years about political philosophy and ethos and the like. Very important. I think we need thinkers.
We need some engineers.
We need technical education. Yep. TCAT does a very good job, but what we need to do is when we get a young man or a young lady with a skill set that is totally different from mine, they can build something, they can fix something, they can put something together.
Which we cannot do.
Which we cannot do.
That's
okay,
right.
Alan and I can sit here and argue about how many angels can sit on the head of a pin.
But not.
But
good luck putting a bicycle together, right?
That's exactly right. We can't do that. Those people who do that are valuable. We need to go in there, train that. We need workforce development. It's one of the few areas that the Secretary of Labor, former Mayor of Boston, and I actually agree, okay? He came by the office the other day. We had a good visit, and I usually used to say, you know, when I have an argument with somebody, it's Yankees and Mets. Okay, well, he's Red Sox. So I'll even take, I know you are, so I'll take Mets versus Red Sox. What are we going to do? But he and I disagree on a lot, but we do agree that we need to develop our American workforce, and we've got to do that through education. Get these young men and women in high school and say, what is your skill? Is it carpentry? Is it metal work? Is it engine work? Is it body work with a car? Go in and build that skill up. 98% job placement. And let's keep them drug-free. Please, let's keep them drug-free.
The plants here locally, especially Y12 and others, they just got openings every day. And COVID's responsible for a lot of that. I mean, I can't get the lobby at the local McDonald's open. They never have enough workers.
There you go.
12, 13, 14 an hour, they won't work.
So we need to do a better job. It's where you put your resources, and I think we need to do that in technical education.
I agree. I think technical education, especially in the production state like Tennessee. I mean, we don't approach things like Massachusetts.
Indeed.
We're different here. I just think you get into, I don't know what it takes to run an oil field, but that would be something. Can you imagine being some kind of petroleum technician or something? That's got to pay well.
You'd be golden. And for what it's worth, there is some petroleum in the 3rd District of Tennessee. I was up in Morgan County the other day, and I saw the oil derricks working, so that's good. Tennessee does have some
oil in Morgan County. I didn't know that.
Isn't that great? Got a lot of natural gas,
I lived in Pittsburgh for 12 years. I used to drive through Pennsylvania a lot. And there were always, boom, shipping. Everybody, every little thing was doing this, right? I don't see it anymore. I don't see the drilling anymore. No more. Not none, but I don't see it anymore. But I know it's out there somewhere. It's got to be. So that's the question. All right. So we've talked about all of that. Marsha Blackburn comes up in 2 years.
Yes.
Senator.
Should run unopposed and should win easily.
Or some. Yeah. A Class C type person without the resigns and get back in, you think? Of course, you know what it is at our ages. You're 10 years younger, but at our ages, it's every year is different. You know, you just hope you are healthy enough to get through it.
I mean, I'm 59. I'll be 60 in October. Thank God I'm in good health. I play competitive sports. I play baseball every day in Congress. When I'm up there out at the field, I run. Yeah. But you're right. God willing, good health. There's no substitute for good health. And I've always been healthy, thank God. But I see people my age and younger having serious physical issues, and it does affect their entire ability to work, to play, and to live. So
there aren't many smokers left. At least I don't see many.
Nope.
But
I don't smoke. I don't drink.
No.
So
well, I don't smoke.
So there you go. There you go.
There you go. We have fun with it. We do everything. My father said do everything in moderation.
Moderation. I've always heard a lot about moderation.
Moderation is where
I've never been a creature of moderation, even in politics. No. And that's the problem. If I like something, I like it too much.
Desserts.
Desserts. I like sweets. That's right. I have a sweet tooth. And the like.
If you could sit down for 2 hours with any world leader, who would you want to sit down with?
Wow.
You seem like a Trudeau guy.
No. I wouldn't want to just sit there and criticize him for 2 hours.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
I think, again, if I could make a difference in changing the direction, I'd sit with North Korea's leader or Putin and say, good gosh, what are you doing? You're going in the wrong direction, and your legacy is going to be a disaster.
Knowing the psychohistory of both those opponents, you're not going to get anything done in 2 hours. No. My question to you is, who would you like just to talk to? Like, just sit down. All we're going to do is talk about life. We'll have a subjective. Who, and all the people you've met, all the people you've talked to for 10 minutes or whatever, who do you want to go, have lunch with? Who do you want to sit down and they just
Well, I've kind of done that with Donald Trump.
Take Donald out of the mix.
Yeah.
Somebody not in the United States.
Somebody not in the United States. Maybe Xi in China, and because he is in the position now where I'd like to sit down and say, okay, look, he's not made the mistakes that Putin have made. He's got a plan of action. He's America's biggest competitor. Mm-hmm. People never understood. Donald Trump was great for the United States of America. He was 100% American, but he respected the fact that Xi was for China. Trump was for America, he was for China, and they would compete. I think I'd like to sit down with him and say, look, let's find out what is your plan, and this is our plan, basically, and just make sure you never go there with nuclear, and just to try to get his worldview. What is that? What makes him tick? He declared himself, I think, pretty much president for life over there. Again, big difference in their system versus ours.
How old is he? 70?
Yeah. Yeah. So give or take a few. Yeah. So be that as it may, just to sit down and say, okay, where are you and where are you going, and what are you building behind you? Okay. I've always worried about America because what is our bench going to look like? We talked about presidential candidates and things like that. We go from a great president, in my view, to Donald Trump, to poor Joe Biden, a handled president, and I'm being just kind. What are we going to get next? Where are our political parties building our benches? Is it at the governor's level? Is it in the Senate?
I'll tell you who it's going to be. It's going to be women. I'm in the playing field every day. I'm out here in the mortar field. Women are winning. Women are moving up. Yep. It's a whole generation coming of women leaders, I'm telling you.
And I'm so glad to see women with conservative values.
Yo,
not only on Roe versus Wade, it's amazing how women have had very strong conservative values and really starting to lead in our party, innovative ideas. And I think that's great because it's wonderful when you sit with a woman governor or a woman senator or a woman House member, and they say, look, this is my life experience. Very different from my life experience. What did they experience? Did they experience sexual harassment? If they did, what was that like? How did they overcome that? How did they deal with that? We learned from that and that great interaction. But you're right, women are doing extremely well.
I was and continue to be a great big fan of Diane Black. I just think she was a great woman leader, and I think there's been several in that sense across.
Good friend, wonderful lady, and it goes to the age-old issue in politics: timing. Right time, right place, wrong time, wrong place.
That's right.
I had that issue. I ran at a time where there was somebody who was going to run and who did run, and they said, no one will beat her, so we won't run. And we just said, hey, we'll take a shot, and we won. We were very fortunate. If you look, there's a lot of people that sat back and said, gosh, we should have gotten into that race. It's timing, it's looking there.
And the courage to move forward.
Yes.
If Diane Black doesn't run, Randy Boyd's the governor. If Randy Boyd doesn't run, Diane Black's the governor. But the way it ran is Bill Lee was in the right place at the right time.
And Bill Lee has done a fantastic job. He really has.
He's a good listener.
Tremendous respect for the gentleman and his abilities as governor and his success as governor. Yeah.
I think so. I think probably the right person in COVID. I mean, he was a listener. He
spoke every week. He reached out. He was solicitous of help. He took help. He led. Give him an A+ for that.
Yeah, I think so too. Favorite person in history?
Wow. Well, Jesus. I mean, got to be.
Trump and Jesus.
Okay.
Again, that's the two responses I've gotten out of them, folks.
But
Jesus,
be.
Jesus was going to be busy.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to pick somebody else.
Okay. And
you can talk to Jesus right now, by the way.
That's exactly. I do every day.
Yeah, okay.
There you go.
Right.
Let's see. American history. It's got to be George Washington.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Why? Because every time he was faced with a situation where he could step up and take the easy way out, he did not. In his early career, he got shot through the hat once, and it didn't hit him, thank goodness.
When he was a soldier?
Yes, when he was a soldier. Really a man of destiny. Led the Continental Congress, Valley Forge, very difficult circumstances, and then became our first president. Didn't want a king. When everybody wanted to lionize him and make him something of what royalty, American royalty, he said, no, I'm going after 2 terms. Just did a great job, built our republic well, really the father of our country. Other people, no question, Winston Churchill during World War II.
He's an interesting guy.
Interesting guy, half American, tough guy, but think about that. This is how democracies work. Here he is, brings England through everything, the Blitz in World War II, and at the end of World War II, he loses his seat. Attlee beats him. A socialist beats him. The Labor Party beats him. He does come back and have another good run, but how do you figure the electorate in England?
I've been trying to before. I'm as good as anybody, but I can't really. Everybody's different. It's different now with social media. Everybody. You make a mistake in Montana, I know about it in 15 seconds.
That's exactly right. Very different world. Caesar Augustus, okay? I always tease my good friend Alan here, Prima inter pares. That's what we call him, first among equals. That's what they called Octavian. He followed Julius Caesar, critically important Roman emperor in history, really the first Roman emperor because Caesar got killed. Big history figure in history. So some of these people loom large. I don't like the villains in history.
You don't like the villains?
Because you had people with tremendous skill, ability, and they used those talents in the wrong direction and hurt the world.
Yeah, some of them hurt it really bad.
Yep.
And we get lost with the European Western type of leaders. We know, of course, Adolf Hitler being on the top of them, villain list, and others. But there's equal villains in the East that we never even. But I tell people all the time, say, "Oh, the world."
Stalin.
Huh?
Stalin.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. I was driving around, literally, in the country of Georgia. Stalin was a Georgian by birth, became the Russian dictator. Every bit as difficult and evil and devastating as Hitler. And severely mentally ill, but we're driving around.
Was he mentally ill?
Yes.
They know that now?
Yes, they know that now. So much so.
Abused as a child or something?
We don't know for sure. Paranoid. Some of his most loyal generals he would just kill. And why? They were loyal. They just
kind of a Nero quality, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And that's what's so great about our system. You get a bad leader, we do have checks and balances in the system. Under Rome, I talked about Caesar Augustus, who was pretty much viewed as a very successful Roman leader, a Caesar. But where do you go from there? You go from Tiberius to Nero to Caligula, maybe not in that order, but you get some bad leaders who take the empire in the wrong direction. So, but we've had our share of good leaders, and I'm going to be an optimist. I'm hoping that great world leader is still out there today. We don't know who that is going to be, a man or a woman who's going to step forward. Margaret Thatcher, Ronald Reagan.
I was talking about her yesterday.
I knew Ronald Reagan. I can't forget him in American history. Probably, maybe third to either Washington, Lincoln, and Reagan. Lincoln obviously led the nation in a very divided time and a tumultuous time, and thank God it came back together. But Ronald Reagan, I actually met and spoke with. Very inspirational.
Yes. And he was classic with the quips.
Yes, he was.
He was quick.
Yeah.
He kind of had that Zelensky quality, where
Yes.
I don't need a ride, I need a gun.
And then as a Catholic, I've got to say this, Jack Kennedy.
John Kennedy, I was going to say when I was going to respond, that there are times in his history another one of destiny that just basically he was so intellectual. So, I mean, what pushed him? But I kind of know the answers. You know, that's 60s stuff. I mean, when you go back to what motivated Madison, what motivated Jefferson, some of the big time guys, it's a different question. But
it is, and he.
I have more European interest in discussions, though. I'd like,
Well, the Europeans
half
are
an
much
hour
more,
with Napoleon would be interesting.
Yes, and what happened at Waterloo? Yeah, but be that as it may, or with Josephine, very interesting situation.
I was thinking about the military and the ruling.
Well,
stuff.
you know, these great leaders all have.
I read
great love
Napoleon's
interests.
autobiography. I did
Yes.
Cicero and other, and Napoleon was interesting as a child. I mean, his development was.
Yes.
He had a few missed opportunities that could have gone either way.
Yep.
When he was trying to do his thing, et cetera, et cetera.
Ended up in exile. Yep.
He did, and that was respectful in a sense.
Yeah.
They didn't just kill him.
Yep. Made the mistake that Hitler made and other people made, invaded Russia. Actually, many people don't know, Napoleon actually burned Moscow. But it was...
it's a big chunk of country. You're going to go in there, you better have some help. That's it.
And as hostile as I am right now towards Putin and the Russians, that whole ethos, they have been invaded, and that is just baked into their... We were talking at one point in time about Putin and his frailties.
That's right.
They've got that
they're on defense all the time.
They really are. They've always been, sadly, a backward country in many ways.
And does that go back to the Peter the Greats and some of those other people? Or what do you think?
I think that just goes back to, and the way that they were built. I mean, they surrendered in World War I. They lost in World War I. And then they went, I think the fact that they went Bolshevist, I mean, that was the first country really, oddly, to adopt Marxism, and which was an abysmal failure and is an abysmal failure, but it thwarted them, and they've had such problems. And that's why I had hoped that the Russian Federation would have been more of a world player in terms of getting involved, being a positive actor, and they have not. They have not.
But you would run some of that into their cultural history of distrust.
Yes. It's baked into their ethos. It's got to be.
Favorite country to go to and travel?
Well, I love the United States. The best trip I ever had was to Israel, to see the Holy Land.
Yeah, it's got to be tough.
To go there, see the Church of the Nativity in Bethlehem, where Jesus was born. To go to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, where Jesus was crucified and raised. That was incredible. The Mount of Olives. To see the old city where Christians, Jews, and Muslims actually coexist and work together. To meet with Prime Minister Netanyahu then and talk to members of the Knesset.
You have a broad support. Latter-day Saints, Baptists, Church of Christ. Your biggest support comes from some of the most fundamentalist churches. You have a good dialogue with everybody.
I do. I love people, and I'm flexible in that I can sit down and talk with just about anybody. I've always said, look at my background. Ethnically, religiously, socially, economically, I'm not better than anybody. Okay, no. So it's like if somebody's talking about picking the guy that's last, it's me.
You didn't have a silver spoon, did you?
No silver spoon, and you know, I'm mixed breed. My goodness, but. So that has put me in a position where I think I've been very tolerant and open to dealing with people, whether in the majority or the minority. Great relationship with the African American community.
Yeah.
I would not be the lawyer I am today if it was not for the African American community in Chattanooga, that when I was starving, basically embraced me and said, hey, you've got potential as a lawyer. We think you're going to be a great lawyer. Yes. 10 and 20 years later, I was representing very affluent Chattanoogans because they all wanted to hire me. But it was the African American community that basically said at first, we want him to be our lawyer.
When you were elected for 9 straight years until COVID and other issues, you never missed a Martin Luther King Day. You were the only Republican in Chattanooga. You would march every time.
Civil rights important, and this part of the world. We talk about the great efforts of the Clinton 12, but remember, Oak Ridge was the first city to desegregate in the South. Its schools, a source of great pride, and something I talk about all the time in Washington, D.C. Oak Ridge has been ahead of the curve in so many different ways.
Oh, yeah, no question. And I think that comes from being a melting pot.
Yes.
You know, in 45, we're a field of grass. and then everybody comes in from all over the country for this massive federal project.
Yes.
So you've got people from every state in the country. It was just a collage.
Look at St. Mary's. Isn't that a beautiful place?
Oh, I love St. Mary's.
I love St. Mary's.
Good luck. By the way, good. I only got 30 seconds. Good luck to you in your elections this year. I don't think you're going to have a lot of problems, but who knows? Neither did Eric Cantor.
That's exactly.
I mean, you got to work.
We work hard every day. We reach out. People say you're being political. No, I'm being official. People will take care of that at the ballot box. I believe that the people will make the right decisions at the ballot box. Thank God for 6 terms they've done that. 12 years. Let's hope we get.
You're also a congressman who's been happy being a congressman.
Love it.
You're not being an advocate to be something else or whatever. We appreciate you coming on. You come on every 6 months. We deeply appreciate you updating us. I think things are going to start getting better.
Hope and pray.
Thanks so much. Thank you guys for coming, watching tonight. We appreciate you. Good night.